The permissible speed limit on federal highways usually doesn't exceed 70 miles per hour. However, there are cars out there that can accelerate to speeds 4 times greater. They're called hypercars, 250, 270, 330 miles per hour. Why do they exist? And who gets to drive them? Let's find out. Be sure to watch the video to the end, because that's where you'll learn which 2 production models are currently competing for the title of the world's fastest. 15 years ago, the term hypercar referred to only one specific car whose capabilities defied the laws of physics and human imagination. We're talking about the McLaren F1 model. The history of this unique car began in 1988. It was then that designer Gordon Murray and engineer Peter Stevens presented the first sketches of the Supersports Coupe to Ron Dennis, the boss of McLaren. The car was supposed to be a street-legal embodiment of the company's success in Formula One. The first prototype was prepared by mid-1991, and by 1994 the car reached customers. Thus, the legend was born, and it became the long-time holder of the prestigious title of the world's fastest production car. The F1 was primarily built with minimal weight in mind, aiming not to exceed 1,000 kilograms. For the first time in a road car, unique, extra-strong yet lightweight materials were used. In the McLaren, you won't find power steering, braking assistance, or traction control systems, all of which Murray deemed unnecessary. The black interior only had room for an audio system, air conditioning, and 2 passenger seats. The pride of the English company was powered by an engine from the German BMW, producing 627 horsepower. To dissipate heat, the engine was lined with gold foil from the inside. Each unit of the F1 contained around 25 grams of this highly valued metal. The car accelerated to an impressive 242 miles per hour, reaching 60 miles per hour in just over 3 seconds. The first 10 of the 64 existing units, which had a record price tag of $1.2 million at the time, were sold on the day of their presentation during pre-sales. A few years later, in 1997, on the expressway between Tokyo and Nagoya, a new design was being conceived that would once again change the automotive world. It was then that the talented engineer, longtime CEO and chairman of the Volkswagen Group, Ferdinand Piëch, sketched a powerful, robust engine with 18 cylinders, a true engineering innovation. All that remained was to choose the right car brand. Piëch was torn between Bentley and Rolls-Royce, but then his 5-year-old son, who kept asking his father to buy him a toy Bugatti, unexpectedly provided a good idea. In 1998, the Volkswagen Group acquired this company. At least 4 prototypes of the new model were produced initially. The most successful one, the Bugatti EB 18.4 Veyron, made its debut at the 1999 Tokyo Auto Show. It was also announced at the time that a production model with 1,001 horsepower and a top speed of over 248 miles per hour would be created, a claim that raised doubts among critics but ultimately became a reality. The new Bugatti Veyron, under normal conditions, reached a speed of 233 miles per hour, accelerating to 100 in 2.7 seconds. However, to achieve the maximum possible speed of 252 miles per hour, a second key, the speed key, had to be inserted into a slot next to the driver's seat. Turning it reduced the clearance to 2.5 inches, decreased the spoiler angle to 2 degrees, closed the diffuser on the front grille, and limited the steering wheel's turning angle. Starting in 2005, no fewer than 400 units of this car, with prices starting at $1.7 million, have been sold. Additionally, to boost sales, Bugatti often releases special versions of its model. Since the first presentation of the Veyron, there have been no fewer than 34 such versions. As early as 2010, an upgraded version of the previous car set a new record. In Germany, on the secret test track of the Volkswagen AG Group, test pilot Pierre-Henri Raffanel takes the wheel of the 1,200 horsepower Bugatti Veyron Supersport. First, from south to north, he revs up the hypercar, achieving a top speed of 265 miles per hour, with the high-performance tires squealing. Then, in the opposite direction, another run is made, and the measuring instruments record 269 miles per hour. In the end, representatives from the Guinness World Records register an average result from both runs, 267 miles per hour. This becomes a new speed record for production road cars. Even though the officially allowed speed is within 257 miles per hour in serial production, electronically limited for tire safety, this car can truly be called one of the fastest in the world. Despite being a relatively old hypercar, the Bugatti Veyron Supersport certainly deserves a place on our list because this version was the one that raised the bar for all competitors in the market. To achieve these results, engineers had to solve numerous technological challenges that left a mark in the history of car manufacturing. The elegant, stylish, and genuinely unique Bugatti Veyron is guaranteed to hold its place in history for a long time. Let's take a look at cars from other manufacturers. Yes, Bugatti models are great, but they aren't the only hypercars in existence. In 2014, Americans pushed the Hennessey Venom GT Coupe to 270 miles per hour. During tests, it accelerated from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 3.05 seconds. But let's take things step by step. At the core of this car lies the relatively modest Lotus Elise Exige. Initially, these small English roadsters and coupes were designed for engines with less than 200 horsepower. However, it turned out that the potential of this platform was virtually limitless. Lotus itself, year by year, equipped these cars with more powerful engines, reaching 430 horsepower by the present day. But the American company Hennessey Performance Engineering managed to produce cars with triple the power. The wheelbase had to be extended by half a meter, the body width increased by 24 centimeters, and otherwise the Venom GT is still the same small Elise, renamed to Venom GT. However, behind the driver's and passenger seats, there's over 1,200 horsepower, and that turned out to be enough to compete with Bugatti. While the Venom GT may be less powerful, it significantly outperforms in terms of weight. This is Lotus' signature move. Thanks to an aluminum frame and a plastic body, the base roadster weighs less than a ton. The Venom of course gained some weight, but compared to the Veyron, it's like a compact hatchback compared to a large crossover. Bugatti weighs around 1.9 tons, while Hennessey weighs 1.25 tons. The Venom GT showcased its top speed at a Florida spaceport in 2014. However, this was not recognized as a world record. Firstly, records are only recognized for models produced in quantities of no less than 30 units, and Hennessey produced only 7 coupes and 6 roadsters over the years. Secondly, to set a world record, 2 runs in opposite directions are required, and the average achievement is counted. The Venom GT, however, reached that speed only once. Nevertheless, it did manage to set another world record, recognized by Guinness as well. In 2013, it became the world's fastest accelerating car, going from 0 to 185 miles per hour in just 13.63 seconds. Another manufacturer made headlines later on. In 2017, the hypercar Koenigsegg Agera RS set several world records in a single day, including the absolute speed record for production cars, 288 miles per hour. Unlike Hennessey's record, these runs were conducted following strict rules in both directions. In one of these runs, the speed even reached 284 miles per hour. Interestingly, these runs were organized on a regular highway in Nevada, which was of course closed for this occasion. This allowed for setting new records for public roads: 1 kilometer at a speed of 276 miles per hour and 1 mile at a speed of 275 miles per hour. Another impressive record was the acceleration and deceleration from 0 to 250 to 0 miles per hour. The Koenigsegg Agera RS achieved this feat in just 33.29 seconds. The fantastic performance of this hypercar is due to the fact that it combines lightness similar to the Venom GT with power that approaches that of Bugatti. What's particularly worthy of respect is that the Swedish company Koenigsegg does everything on its own, without the assistance of powerful conglomerates and without using external chassis and body elements. The Agera features an in-house developed engine and a body of their own manufacture. Moreover, the design was personally handled by the founder and head of the brand, Christian von Koenigsegg. Before we delve into the fastest road cars, we'd like to show you some other quite unusual high-speed vehicles. You might be surprised to learn that as far back as 1933, there was a model capable of reaching speeds of over 298 miles per hour. The unique Blue Bird was created by Malcolm Campbell. The sports car had a rather unusual shape, a powerful engine, and several records under its belt. But that was almost a century ago. So what can more modern racing cars do? The Blue Flame was the world's first ground vehicle to reach speeds of over 1,000 km per hour or 621 miles per hour. This rocket was 12 meters or 39 feet long, weighed around 3 tons, and boasted a rocket engine with approximately 100,000 newtons of thrust. The car had 2 rear and 1 double front wheels, which is why it's considered a 4-wheeler, not a 3-wheeler, as it might seem at first glance. In 1970, pilot Gary Gablick managed to set a world speed record of 630 miles per hour in this car, making it the absolute leader of its time. However, the Thrust 2 from Britain with its incredibly powerful turbine engine broke the previous record. It looked more like a super-fast locomotive than a rocket. They installed the well-known Rolls-Royce Avon engine. This time, the speed the car achieved was 650 miles per hour. The record was broken, but the sound barrier was not yet surpassed, so engineers continued their work. And then persistent efforts led to the creation of the next monster. It had 2 Rolls-Royce Spey turbine engines with a combined power of 110,000 horsepower. The length was 17 meters or 56 feet, width was 4 meters or 13 feet, and it weighed almost 11 tons. This machine burned 18 liters of fuel per second. The Thrust SSC in 1997 accelerated to a speed of 763 miles per hour in just 30 seconds, becoming the world's first car to break the sound barrier. This world record remains unbroken to this day, a well-deserved first place. Let's get back to our main list. Here, at least 2 cars are competing for the title of the ultimate speedster. The SSC Tuatara, one of the most powerful cars in the world today, is produced by the renowned American company Shelby Supercars. In early 2011, the first public unveiling of this model took place in Shanghai. The new gasoline hypercar Tuatara shattered the previous speed record and managed to reach 330 miles per hour on a public road. The car is named after the Tuatara, a prehistoric lizard native to New Zealand. The indigenous people refer to the animal as Tuatara, which in the Maori language means crests on the back. This definition suits the hypercar's appearance. It has a pair of small wings behind the doors and a pair of aerodynamic fins at the rear. Recently, Koenigsegg announced its intention to once again break the world speed record for production road cars. The Swedish hypercar manufacturer hopes to achieve this feat with its latest creation, the Jesko Absolute. In theory, this model's maximum speed exceeds 330 miles per hour. Furthermore, at Koenigsegg they believe that the title of the manufacturer of the fastest production car still belongs to them, despite claims from SSC. Recall that back in 2017, the Koenigsegg Agera RS hypercar demonstrated an average speed of 277 miles per hour over 2 runs. So why doesn't the Swedish manufacturer acknowledge the achievements of its competitors? The issue stems from the doubts raised by many people after watching the video of Tuatara's new record. A YouTuber scrutinized the footage in detail, pointing out discrepancies between the car's speed and what would be required to cover that distance. Later, SSC responded by stating that the Tuatara's actual speed had been verified by the manufacturer's GPS devices from Tevatron, the equipment used in the run. However, Tevatron subsequently contradicted this information, as its employees were not present during the tests and did not participate in preparation. Since the data largely relies on proper equipment calibration, Tevatron cannot guarantee its accuracy. SSC representatives promised a new run for the Tuatara that would confirm the model's claim to the title of the fastest road car. However, as of 2020, these promises remained unfulfilled. Meanwhile, Koenigsegg has developed new special aerodynamics and an engine capable of producing up to 1,622 horsepower for the Jesko Absolute. Serial vehicle testing is not yet complete, but the company's announcement of plans for a world record may indicate that they are nearing completion. That's all from us. Thanks for watching, and goodbye everyone!